I feel like a lot of times we get into these headspaces to where we're always like, nah, man, I got to get back to where I was. Like, nah, bro. But like a couple years ago, bro, niggas couldn't see me. But like, nah, bro. Like back then I used to have my shit up. Like we tend to reference a lot of what we used to be for almost making up for what we aren't now, or as a metric for what we should be now. Like, I used to be able to do this. I'm currently unable to do this, but I'm still holding on to this idea that I used to be able to do this. Now, don't get me wrong. Understanding what you're capable of, understanding what you've overcome in your life is a very important thing. And it kind of keeps you grounded in a sense, and it also gives you a level of confidence. But I feel like where we start to make that mistake, or where we start to falter, is almost romanticizing and pedestalizing the versions of ourselves that we were, to the degree that it almost paralyzes us from actually progressing and trying to do anything else. The reality is that person that you were, you will never be again. And even if you look similar to that person tomorrow in terms of physique, in terms of hair, in terms of nails, in terms of appearance, in terms of whatever, confidence, swagger, the talking, you aren't the same person. The reality is that as you continue to go through life, it's going to continue to mold you and change you and teach you things, and it's going to stop you from acting the same ways you used to, or at least acting the same ways for the same reasons, because you just begin to know more. Especially when you embark on self-improvement or any form of self-development, you'll start to realize a lot more about yourself, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to pretend to be somebody that you're not anymore. You know, there was a time where I would literally skate every single day because it was new to me, and that was like my favorite thing to do. But it's not that I don't love skateboarding now. It's literally just the novelty of it kind of died a bit for me, and I realized, like, okay, cool, like this is something that I enjoy to do, but I don't want to have to do it as much anymore, just because I'm not that heavily interested in it anymore, at least to the degree of wanting to dedicate so much more of the time that I have to it. But one of the byproducts of me skating all the time is I literally always had abs, and for a decent amount of time I literally always had abs. Now, in part it was genetic, and also in part it was just due to lifestyle choices that I make. Most of the time, or not most of the time, but seasonally, I am vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian. Like I try out different diets a lot, primarily plant-based ones, just because they're the ones that agree with me the most. I just also really enjoy eating like red meat, chicken. I like food in general, so it's a bit hard for me to make that commitment full time, just because I like food, and going out and trying new foods with people that I care about is something that I enjoy to do. But in losing my abs, because I stopped living that way, it was one of those things to where it kind of fucked with me in my head, where I was like, damn, now I don't have my abs. And mind you, I could get them back in like a week. And it's less of a cope and more so to show you that it really isn't that deep. But I kept fixating on this, like, nah, I got to go back to this exact same lifestyle. But that exact same lifestyle that might have given me that result doesn't necessarily suit me. So as you grow and evolve, the lifestyle, the things that you require to maintain yourself, they change. At your core, you still are the same person. There's like principal cores. Like, principally, I'm an active person. Principally, I'm a healthy person. Principally, I like to take care of myself. But outside of those principles, I have freedom to do anything that falls into those categories. The problem comes when we constrict ourselves to a category as opposed to a principle. If you constrict yourself to a principle as opposed to a category, you'll be able to do anything long term. If you constrict yourself to a category, it's very hard to do anything long term, even if you enjoy it. And you see it all the time. People get tired of going to the fucking gym and lifting weights all day. People get tired of playing the same video games. Because, like, look at GTA 5 YouTubers. Look at GTA 5 YouTubers, and that is the perfect example of a person that picked a category over a principle. Instead of picking the principle of, I like video games, and this game is a game that I happen to be playing right now, so I'm going to post it. It turned into, I enjoy GTA 5. GTA 5 is my life. Everything that I make will be about GTA 5. So now you have a bunch of people around you that are only interested in what you have to say because of GTA 5. But as we can see firsthand, the moment that GTA 5 stopped becoming popular, or the moment that people got tired of GTA 5 because it's a category, not a principle, the same people that still made that content, not all of them, but a decent amount of them, are still kind of grasping at straws, trying to suck the life out of this game because they made it their livelihood. Like, they made it their life. And it kind of circles me back to my main point, where as opposed to going into your life, into these situations and thinking like, nah, man, like, I used to be this or I used to be that. You could still think about it that way, but more so use it as like a measuring stick to see where you're going next. Like, okay, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that too. Like, that was cool when I did it. What am I doing now, though? Like, how am I making the most out of my life right now? What am I interested in now? Like, it could be a complete polar opposite, bro. You could have been a bodybuilder for 3 years, and now you decide that you want to be a professional skier. Allow yourself to make that transition. And in that transition, there is a bit of growing pain because we tend to identify a lot with the positive attributes that come out of certain habits that we have. And that's why I say it's more important to focus on the principle, because if you focus on things that are principally good and give you good results based off principle, like eating healthy is a principle. It doesn't mean that you eat salad every day. It just means that you make healthier choices. And in part, making those healthier choices might be eating a Big Mac every now and then for the sake of balance, because it comes down to a principle choice. So when it comes down to the principle choice, no matter which way you slice it, you'll still be able to get those positive benefits from anything you do without necessarily losing them. They might change. If you're not bodybuilding anymore, you're going to get smaller. It's inevitable. You're going to get smaller. If you're not playing League of Legends anymore and you decide to make the jump to Rainbow Six, you're going to suck. You're going to suck for a while. You might be able to pick up a little bit just because you have transferable skills, but you're going to suck. If you go from striking and doing stand-up kickboxing and Muay Thai to jiu-jitsu gym, you're going to fucking suck. Part of life is getting really good at something and then finding something else that challenges you and sucking at that. Even if you're the cream of the crop in your field, eventually you're going to run into an obstacle, whether it's external, internal, physical, metaphysical. You're going to run into some form of an obstacle that's meant to give you adversity for the sake of progression and evolution. So as opposed to dwindling on the past and as opposed to really expecting that old version of yourself that you think is really all powerful to come out, realize that if they were really that powerful, they would have still been here. The reason that you're here, the reason that this version of yourself exists instead of the version from before, is because the version that exists now is a lot better of a model than the version that used to exist in some way, shape, or form. You might not maximize your potential right now, but for some reason, you decided to make these choices. So something in you is different now. So you have to work with what's here now. You could still use the past as almost like a blueprint or like a foundation, but don't be afraid to switch up the style a little bit. Don't be afraid to make a few adjustments to the plan to better suit a more ideal version of yourself. There's always room to change and there's always room to be better. Even if that version of you was badass, there's probably something that you can do to make that version of you even more badass and exist today, in this moment, right now. It's all about the choices that we make. And one thing that we have to do is to choose not to minimize ourselves to a category in life and start maximizing our potential by following principles instead of categories. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, just make sure to leave a like, comment down below. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. You feel me? Peace.